2010, Gary Walton came to me. He said, I know you can organise things. I'd like to be able to showcase Waiheke as a great place to walk. We've got all these public walkways, and we need to get people over from Auckland. We put our heads together, and for that first year we came up with 20 guided walks. They're all free, and they'll always be free guided walks. We printed 2,000 brochures, and we put the word out, and we got 500 walkers in, which was amazing, beyond our expectation. So we realised that things had to be taken to the next level, because so many people had said, oh, why isn't this a longer festival? If we'd known more about it, we'd have come over and stayed. So we got that website up. We printed 10,000 brochures, and we had 1,500 walkers, which was staggering, again beyond our expectation. People did come over from Auckland, but they also came from 12 countries around the world. They know us for our vineyards, which are amazing. They know us for the wedding venues and the beaches and the restaurants. And they're beginning to know us for the walking now. The Walking Festival has clearly stamped Waiheke on the map as a walking destination. It can only be a good thing for Waiheke, for tourism on Waiheke. It's healthy, it's social, it's good for business. Incredible to think that in our third year now we are the most comprehensive walking festival in the Southern Hemisphere, and that's why I like being involved in it.
The reserve as a whole was originally an area bush called Brown's Bush and farmland alongside, purchased by Forest and Bird in the 1960s. The half that was farmland is the bit that you came in through and walked up through, and that's just naturally regenerated, which is fantastic. A lot of wheat in here, and the locals have done a lot of work on wheat. Basically the only mature karri in this end of the island, in the west end of the island. There are lots of good karri trees down the bottom end of the island. So from Onotangi to the ferry is about a quarter of the island. That's the western end of the island. That's effectively where 95% of us live and spend most of our time. But the other 3/4 of the island is farmland and vineyard. There are about 50 forest and bird societies in New Zealand, and while Waiheke is one of the smallest groupings, they've got something like the second largest amount of land.
This walk for the Waiheke Walking Festival is going from Matitia up through the Forest and Bird Reserve, Atawhai Whenua, and then through Allison Park, and we're culminating in the Alembics Garden. I call them weed walks, or looking for medicinal plants in the wild. So what we do is try to identify plants like dandelion leaf, plantain, things that people can actually use it at home for really simple tinctures or tonics that they can use for their families.
Kawa is the big one that grows everywhere on the island, and it's so simple to make into a tonic for digestion, toothache, and it's simply a matter of learning how to identify plants, how to use them. So do you dry them, or do you use them as a tea, or do you make them into a tincture, or how do you make them into a cream, and then you're away. So that's what these walks are all about.
Janine, and I'm one of the main walk guides for the Walking Festival. It's my job today to facilitate the walk, and I'm very excited to do this walk. This is Te Hahi Goodwin Reserve, and it is a forest and bird reserve. This is not a track, I repeat, this is not a track, so we do have to keep together as a group because we've got a bush bash to do.
The Okahawiti Wetland Walk. They're a very valuable ecosystem. They actually have a function, which is that they filter the sediment coming off the land and they trap it. They also catch and hold sort of excess nutrients so that they don't get released into the water. So in that sense they're actually a safeguard of the water bodies. Because starting at the sea, you go through a sort of saltwater wetland through to all the various stages right through to freshwater wetlands. And so that's what they call ecotones. There's a whole lot of different sort of transitory stages of wetlands. For me, the thing that's actually the best is that they're also beautiful. Like the light in the wetlands is really special because it's reflected off the waters and off the reeds and off the grasses, and they're often very quiet places, so they're actually really unique little spots. So it's a very special place.
Special privilege to say welcome to you all. We also have today Paul Monin, who is a local historian. We're going to be heading up and over the hill. Paul's going to be talking about the bunkers, we call them. What's the mystery behind these big concrete structures up on the hill? And then we're going to be heading down to Waiheke, having a look at the beach, some stories about the beach, and then we'll head on up to Oniroa village.
This is the observation post, and I'll explain its function. This is really the important building. We've got two support buildings on the other side, and then we'll pass those two, and then there's a third building which was very definitely the cookhouse. Those are tucked on the other side of the brow of the hill, and this was the observation post, so it had to have a maximum view. It had to have a maximal observation. It was over there. Shells would come over, bounce off here perhaps, and those buildings, the soldiers taking shelter there would be safe. They were much more open here than at Stony Batter. Stony Batter, there was a no-go zone from Onatangi and from Manawa Bay. That was, you know, there was a security fence, and no Waiheke citizens could go beyond those. The possibility of a mini sub, it would have been a mini sub, getting it to Auckland, was taken very seriously. So it was a real danger.